What's going on, y'all? It's a late night at Dame's, and I want to make sure you guys are doing okay first. How you guys doing? You doing all right? All right, cool. So make sure you put in the comments how you feeling, and I do want you guys to like, share, and subscribe if you want more videos like this. So today we're talking about scammers, y'all, and we're not talking about any specific scammers, just scamming in general. And I kind of want you guys to wrap your heads around the idea of integrity and like what it means to you and why it's important, right? And so for me, it's kind of simple. Like you do good things, you're a good person, good things happen, right? But there is a dark reality to it where like does that truly matter, you know? Should you really worry about that? Should that really affect your decision making? And that can look like a lot of different things for a lot of different people. And so I'd like to center this around hip hop, but you can really center this around just kind of life in general. If you're at work in the workplace, or if you're doing something like gig work, or if you're in them streets, you out here doing them fruit fights, as Jay Z would say. There's a lot of different things you can get into that are questionable as far as should you do it, shouldn't you do it, is it worth it? That's a big one. Is it worth it? But we'll get into that. And I do want you guys to let me know in the comments what you think, what your opinions are, and is there things that you think are, I wouldn't say unforgivable just because I believe in forgiveness, but I would say things that are irredeemable, like things you just kind of can't come back from, right? So let's get into it. So I think when it comes to scamming in hip hop, I think the idea of scamming has, for some reason, a weird stigma. I don't know what word I'm trying to come up with in my head. My little brain file cabinet is like flinging open, trying to figure out what word to come up with. But it's weird. We don't like scammers, but scamming is interesting. Like we love hearing about scams and like someone getting a one up on someone, right? And it's cool, it's interesting, and it's like exciting. It's like a car crash until you're behind the steering wheel, and then it's like, I don't want to do this no more, right? And I think that's kind of the strange place that it sits. I don't know what that word is, but it's the same strange place that I think horror movies sit when it comes to most people. Like most people don't like the situations in horror movies, but watching a horror movie for the situation kind of like makes it exciting. It makes it kind of like entertaining, not necessarily alluring, but entertaining. Like it's the same in gunfights and action movies. Like when you see a big old gunfight, it's like when I was a kid seeing like a big old Matrix movie gunfight when Neo walks into that first lobby and they just unload on them guards. In my mind, that was like, yo, that's crazy. Look how crazy that looks. But when you think about that, like in hindsight, you're like, yo, that's crazy. No, I never want to experience no shit like that ever. Like, fuck that. No, never good. But I think for a lot of people, it's the emotion behind scamming that makes it either really really offensive or really really exciting. And that's the key thing I want to focus on here. Why do you think most people, when they hear like a scamming lyric or some kind of weird bar about scamming in hip hop, do we get excited? Is it like, oh man, he just scammed somebody? Or when you hear something crazy in hip hop, do you get offended? Like, why do you get offended when you hear like I don't know, some street rappers committing a crime or something? Why does that offend you so much, or why does it excite you? Whatever feeling you get. And I guess I'll say for me, when I hear stuff like that, it kind of just flies over my head because I have zero experience with it, so I don't know how to feel. But when I start to write my own music, right, and I start to create my own kind of perspective and use hip hop, I kind of start to think about like who I'm talking to or who's listening to this and who's gonna hear this and then be like, oh, I relate to this or I'm vibing to this. And sometimes I kind of realize why it's easy for a lot of artists to scam because if I were to just lie on a record, it'd be really cool to just do. Like it'd just be fun. Like you see AI music coming out and it just sounds really fun and really creative, and like your brain just thinks of an idea, you put a prompt in the machine and it spits out an idea. That sounds really fun, but then when you start to think about like who am I talking to? And when they hear me talk, what do I want them to hear? What did I want them to get from what I said? And it's very, very it's scary sometimes for an artist because then you got to think like, what if I say the wrong thing? What if I fuck this up? What if I fuck the scam up? What if I say I'm rich and they realize I'm not? Like what, what's the next step? And I think for artists that are in like a position like myself where like you're independent but you're trying to get to a point that's like respectable for most people, I think you start to kind of see what most people respect, and then you're like, damn, do I or don't I fit in that box? And if you do, is it worth it? Like, is it worth it to like, all right, let's push the button and go all in and say like, I'm the rapper scammer guy who does all the things, and then you see what's happening to all the rapper scammer guys? Or do you realize that you don't fit in that box and you go, damn, what can I do to get into a box that y'all respect? Do I start scamming? And and then there goes the cycle all over again. So I think here's what I suggest. If you're gonna do any type of I'll say service related industry, hospitality, entertainment, things where you gotta serve the people, like working for the government or something like that, before you start, before day one, you need to know and state out loud in the mirror to yourself, like be like, yo, these are the principles I believe in, and I will never break these. Only then can we really kind of put ourselves to a standard that we can respect. Because if I sit up here on this video and tell you don't do X, don't do Y, and make sure you never do Z, you'll break all three of those and nothing will happen because I'm on a computer screen and you're not ever gonna feel like the backhand of my knuckles correct you, right? So the thing is, when it comes to what I was talking about earlier, integrity and like why that's important, I think this is something that you as an artist have to figure out on your list of priorities where this lands on your character list. Like if you were to play a video game and figure out like all the little stats and traits and things like that for yourself, and it was like a octagon or a hexagon or a decimexiflexagon, right? It was one of them big old numbers. And you started to put all the pieces together. Little old integrity, where does it fit? Where does honesty fit? Do you knock it down a few notches? That way you can boost up, charisma. Do you knock down charisma so you can boost up integrity, but you up deception like a whole lot just so you can use integrity where you need it? So it's a lot of very, very, very confusing things that you can figure out when it comes to scamming or like lying or bootlegging, because it can be successful. And that's the scary part as an artist. I was talking to somebody recently and they hadn't been into a fist fight before. Not once in their life, like not once. And it wasn't weird for them to say that because this was particularly a woman saying this. I was like, all right, yeah, I mean, that's good. Don't get hit. But the thing is that they've also never thrown a punch to like really hurt somebody. And to have that experience is not good and it's not fun. But when you do it, there's certain times it can happen for people in the around the world where just nothing happens. Like you throw a punch and you hurt somebody and they cower in fear and no one does anything to stop you. And so moments like that is where you kind of figure out where you put your little stat marker. Did you put your stat marker a little higher on the integrity? Did you hit that person or throw that punch and stop? Did you swing on that person and did you say, all right, the fight's over? Or was your stat marker a little lower than most people and you just let loose for no reason and we couldn't do anything about it? So this is kind of something you need to think about as an artist and something you need to figure out. All right, am I willing to deal with the consequences of what comes with that? Because some people, they get away with it in reality, and some people, they get away with it for a certain amount of time. Like it may not affect you directly, but it may affect your environment or maybe people around you and things like that, you know? So, and it goes both ways. Like you can wind up helping somebody. Like you can help a girl get her career started and she winds up like blowing up and doing really well and it winds up working out really well for the both of y'all. That could be something that really works, but it was because you marked a little integrity marker, your skill marker, a little higher than normal, right? You helped her out. You got her through the tough times of the music industry. You got her to fucking figure out how to sing better and, stage presence and manage money and stuff. And so now both of y'all are rich. Awesome, right? So there's a lot of good things that come with figuring out where you put certain characteristics as an artist, right? And I think once you learn this is gonna be like game changing for figuring out who you work with, why you work with them, um, who works with you, and why they work with you. And that's gonna be key. So if this was helpful to you, let me know because I'll be making more videos like this and we're gonna get it cracking. So I will see you guys tomorrow night. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and also see me in the shorts. I'm gonna be talking to you guys in the shorts too. But I'm out, y'all. Peace.